talk about kidnapping real quick. Asks people like Sabu. Start there. I hate the motherfucker. But let's look at his situation right off the bat. The first thing that happens to you when you're exposed as an activist probably in general, but certainly if you're a hacktivist like John Fairhurst or Mark Sullivan, ask any of these guys, ask anybody that's involved in this business. The first thing the establishment does is take your kids away. That's common knowledge. You can read about that shit in books and magazine articles. The first thing that they did to Sabu was threaten to take his kids away. And then he collaborated with the FBI to fuck over all of his buddies, like Jeremy. That's why everybody wants to rip Sabu's throat out, because Jeremy Hammond did 10 years, or is doing 10 years, got sentenced to 10 years in Kentucky prison for doing what Sabu told him to do, while Sabu was an informant for the FBI. So the FBI is telling Sabu what to do, and Sabu is telling Jeremy Hammond what to do. And Jeremy Hammond gets 10 years for it because the FBI threatened to kidnap Sabu's kids if he didn't fuck Jeremy Hammond over. John Fairhurst has his own story. Mark Sullivan has his own story. I have my own story about how my kids have been kidnapped over and over and over and over and over again while I get my ass handed to me and my ass whipped and beat because of the fact that I'm an activist and that I show up in places like Ferguson and Baltimore, New York, Florida, and different places and help sort shit out when the cops have gone off the fucking rails and start just fucking killing people and pretending like they're not doing anything wrong and fucking over anybody who says that they are. Somebody has to show up there and say, fuck you, all right? And that's what me and my buddies do. Well, that wasn't real popular for a long time. We took a lot of shit for a long time for showing up in those places and being activists and speaking out in person and online. By the way, I'm not gonna go down there just yet. All right, so kidnapping is just part of the SO. Even corporate people, they jump in here right hard as soon as start targeting a corporation or someone like that, like Scientology, for instance. They have no problem using all of their financial resources to completely wreck that person's life. That's well documented. Government does it, police departments do it, especially podunk fucking corrupt good old boy police departments like are in the Ozarks. So just as a for instance, Ozark sheriffs and local cops are pretty much just well known for being good old boy, underhanded, fraternizing douchebags who don't care about law, who violate the law themselves and laugh about it while they're smoking cigars or something else, even while they're fucking over the general public, being just all around general fucking organized criminals. That's how Ozark law enforcement works. So the first thing that happened when they realized who I was out there in the middle of nowhere, when those two cops got shot in New York City and they hunted me down out there in the Ozarks and they figured out who I was in 2014, right about Christmas time, the first thing they did was launch a Department of Human Services investigation into me and my kids. This is documented. Heather jumped right on board. Let's do this. Okay? Understand, this all started Christmas of 2014. New York Police Department threw a fucking fit after they were wearing shirts that said, I can breathe, after they had murdered Eric Garner. So it went down like this. NYPD murders Eric Garner on the street for selling loose cigarettes. That was his crime. Murders the guy. People throw a fit in New York City and want an investigation, and they not only do they say, no investigation needed, we didn't do anything wrong, the guy's a douchebag and he deserved to die. And then they try to blame it on him like, oh, well, it was because of his own physical condition that he died or whatever, even though 7 New York cops were strangling him to death. Well, NYPD threw a big party that, haha, we fucked you guys over, and they were all photographed wearing shirts that said, I can breathe. And they were all standing there arm in arm, 9, 10 of these guys, 3, 4 of them at this big party that they were having after Eric Garner got killed, and they all got off on it. They had a big party wearing shirts that said, I can breathe. And actually there were websites and Facebook, groups and little people doing their own thing, and it was a popular thing. If you were in the NYPD, you could go to the NYPD store where you would buy like your normal police gear, and in the store you could see it on advertised on their website or their Facebook or their Instagram. They sold t-shirts. They had racks of them, and the t-shirts said, I can breathe, ha ha ha. And then they had photographs of all the NYPD guys standing together laughing like, ha ha ha, we can breathe, motherfuckers. You dead black dudes can't. But we white dudes, NYPD, we can breathe. And so I made a few statements to the NYPD implying that basically you guys are the stupidest motherfuckers I've ever seen, and your ignorance, your arrogance is going to be your undoing, and something to the effect of, you motherfuckers sit around like sitting ducks, like fish in a barrel. And then according to Ron Strab, about 2 hours later, 2 New York cops got shot point blank sitting on the street in their car. Well, first thing the NYPD did was launch a fucking investigation on me and holler at the FBI and all the, crooked Ozark mountain cops that were tied into probably like KKK and everything else. And that's when all this shit started, pretty much. It was Christmas of 2014. Heather was with her parents. I was at war with NYPD. They brought in FBI and Newton County, Madison County sheriffs, and this whole thing started. Christmas of 2014. Okay, bear that in mind. Anyway, kidnapping. Oh, also the other thing having to do with kidnapping is that if you're a protester and you're standing across the street from a police department protesting, and they don't want that to happen, they kidnap you. They come over and they put cuffs on you and they grab you and they stuff a sock in your mouth or whatever they have to do, and they throw you in a box. Like I got thrown in lots of little boxes, concrete boxes, where nobody can see you, where people actually have to call in every day to check and make sure you're alive. You have to verify, we want to know for sure. Oh, just as an aside, during the first, 10 days or so that I was in Washington County Detention Center after I was kidnapped in front of the federal building, for those first handful of days, the first 10 days or so, Heather was calling into the administration office every single day, insisting on a welfare check to make sure that I hadn't been murdered or beat the living shit out of, to where she wanted proof of life. Every single day she insisted on proof of life and couldn't get me on the phone, couldn't talk to me, couldn't contact me. I was literally having my ass handed to me inside the Washington County Detention Center. Okay. Anyway, I'm sure they've got all that shit on video. Point being is that during those 10 days when I had no contact with Heather at all, when she was freaked out about whether I was even alive or dead, and I had no contact with anybody in the whole world because I was in a concrete box having the shit beat out of me at the Washington County Detention Center with no phone calls. During that time, I somehow opened 3 Capital One credit accounts in my name online from a computer. See how fucking ridiculous that is? While I'm in a fucking concrete box buried in the bottom of the Washington County Detention Center, I'm online opening credit cards and then defaulting on them during my jail sentence. Okay, I think that's about all I had to say about people kidnapping and conspiring to kidnap, and then assault and battery and brutalization and kidnapping and all kinds of crazy shit has been going on. And it has to do with Heather and Washington County cops and the FBI and NYPD and all the fucking crooked cops out there that have been running their fucking cop game for so long. My kids are being held right now against their own will, kidnapped by the Washington County Sheriff's Department and Heather Fisher and Mark Freeman. Oh, that's another thing I was going to say. I was taking my car up to the muffler shop today over there at Seaburg, and I realized I drove right by Mark Freeman's office, and I thought, he hasn't answered any of my emails or any of the realtors' emails, or probably even Heather's emails or phone calls. I don't know. He just vanished. Heather's lawyer vanished. Won't respond to anybody. So I thought, oh shit. I was like, look, his office is right here. I pulled up at a stop sign, and I looked over, and what do you know? His office is right there. So I pulled into the parking lot of his office, and I went down there and knocked on his door and everything. And he had clients waiting for him and everything, and evidently he's all closed up today, just sick or something, and not letting people know where he's at or what he's doing. So he wasn't open for business when I showed up, and people who had an appointment with him were standing around wondering where he was. So I guess Mark Freeman has up and vanished like a fart in the wind. I think that's it for now. Kidnappers like Mark Freeman and Heather and Washington County Sheriff's Department, and probably judges.